I want to talk about trust. The topic of trust, it's been coming up a lot for me this week and this month already. I feel like in my own personal life, in my own meditation, in my own practice, it has been a journey and a deeper exploration into myself, into trust and trust issues that I didn't even necessarily realize that I had, but that I am feeling into these days. And it came up from the experience actually of teaching foundations in Thai massage, the 8-week course that I've just completed a couple weeks ago with an amazing group of students. And the whole exercise and the whole opportunity to share Thai massage, a class that I've always done in person, and then turn it into its own standalone and what turned out to be a wonderful, elegant, terrific course, amazing feedback, and amazing appreciation from students who just felt so supported and so complete in the whole time that we were together, and we were sharing and having our closing circle. And I guess I was reflecting back on what it felt like to put that course together right from the very beginning, and recognizing that when I started, like from the first gathering, I had a good idea, but I didn't have it at all like planned, configured. It's going to be like this and exactly like that, whether it was the curriculum or even the structure. And so the way I ended up structuring that course, for example, is that we had 3 hours of live training that was already set up before we started, and then a whole library of already prepared videos that students could go and watch and really immerse themselves and go deeper on their own time. And there's a lot of flexibility there to both do live stuff together and then study on their own with edited and well prepared videos. But what came about in that first class, as I was literally talking that first time in those first 3 hours, was, you know what, I want to offer some more. And so it was about sharing some office hours and having an hour during the week, towards the end of the week, so that as students have been practicing things, they can come on and ask questions and get more support and more specific guidance on things that were coming up for them in particular. And then also have another hour during the week all about integrating the wisdom principles and having a higher vibrational kind of life, and the ways that Thai massage can help to support you. And I knew I wanted to share that with students. And I knew just what came up in the end is that I didn't want it to interfere with the actual teaching of Thai massage. So this was the way for me to be flexible and offer something extra to the students, but also really from the heart, and where I've been evolving my own practice and 20 years of teaching and giving, and all the ways that Thai massage has given back to me, and just all the ways that I've grown as a person, wanting to share that with people. And then that was the format that I came up with as a way to offer that and share with people. And so the reason I'm saying this is that upon completing the course, it's just reflecting on how just simply showing up, having a practice, being dedicated, being present gave me that inspiration, gave me those ideas in the moment to best support my students. And you know what? It's a gift that Thai massage has been teaching me and giving me and offering me since the very first day I started massaging 20 years ago. And again, I recognized this a long time ago, but part of the great gifts and great work that I get to do in giving and teaching Thai massage, and really maybe even giving first and then teaching, is just connecting with my own intuition, connecting with the right brain part of me, that is the part that is just connected to the present moment, connected to loving kindness, which is of course the heart of Thai massage, and metta and compassion, and turning that gaze so bright inwardly and then outwardly into the world. and mindfulness as well, and being so much more aware of spirit and being supported and understanding how love is on my side, and how every time I would give a massage, essentially, again, like I've often described the experience of giving a massage as like a very fluid strategy. So I meet with my client and I have an idea of what I want to do before the massage starts, but then I actually touch and I pay attention to what is coming through, and I'm getting new ideas for what I want to do in the moment. And so that strategy unfolds and unfolds and unfolds. And so that's what I mean, that as long as I'm paying attention in the massage, it's like my intuition is speaking to me and I'm listening to it. And so the strategy or the ideas I had beforehand, I let go of them as I make myself available to what's coming up in the moment. And certainly the same way in teaching. And when you teach a class, for example, many different things can come up to impact your timing. For example, you have a sense of how much you want to get done in a day, or between like breakfast and lunch, or sort of thing, and then questions come up, issues come up, and things like that. And and you learn time and time again how to be flexible and how to be present and how to listen. And as you do so, again, you just keep being filled with new inspiration and new ideas of how to meet the moment, how to meet the students, how to best support them, how to best support myself, and create a certain kind of flow and a quality to what I'm doing. And it is such a gift that this massage gets to teach me in that whole realm of listening to my intuition, being responsive, and just building up trust and knowing that life is there. Life is on my side. Life is like this amazing reservoir that is always there, but you have to make yourself available to it so that it can come through. And I've known this. I've known this for like 20 years. And I feel like I'm doing what I can to bring it into my life more and more. But what I also then, when you impart or when you embark on a journey like this, I guess what you also realize is just all the ways that you still have to unlearn the habits that you picked up before, or before I ever got into this work. And then since then, of course, because life has slammed me and hit me with so many challenges and reasons to maybe recoil and fear and fall back on old habits and patterns. And sometimes you really don't even notice that you're doing it. And I guess that's where I'm at now with like what's been coming up for me is that I just, through the act of reflecting on the class that I just had and the experience that I just talked about, and then now shifting into the next phase of what I'm doing now. And one of them is just writing, and I'm starting to get ideas for writing a book that is built on the whole premise of like how slow can you go and how high can you fly, and how you can apply that into your life. And that whole creative process, again, I'm noticing that if I come up with an idea, but I'm on my bike or something, and that just happens for me, that oftentimes when I'm bike riding is when I get great creative ideas. There's a part of me that says, well, I need to hold on, I need to stop my bike, I need to write that down or something like that. And as opposed to maybe having another point of view that says, you know what, it came up, now is a great idea. And if I can just trust that when I go home and I sit down and I'm in the right timing, it'll come back again, either in the same form or maybe a slightly altered form that might even be better than what I had when I was originally out there biking. And so why do I feel like I need to stop and do what I'm and write something down right now if I'm out here on a bike ride, and just be present and let me enjoy the bike ride? It's because of some fear that I'm going to miss out on some amazing idea, because some sense of lack of trust that I have in me that is still there. And so that's what I noticed this month. And then from there, yeah, I guess just therefore then using that as a springboard to realize like, well, where else do I do that in my life? For me, I recognize that, okay, like right now there's a lot of a lot of unknowns. On a micro level, I'm waiting on other people for things. For example, I'm waiting on some big kind of life developments that I it's out of my hands. It's like I'm just waiting. And in that waiting, it's like, okay, well, how much am I thinking about it? How much do I worry about it? How much am I stressing about it? Versus, can I just recognize, like, okay, at this point it's like out of my hands. And so what an opportunity it is to nurture and develop that trust. And so that's where I say, like, okay, it's those old patterns that feel like, well, if I'm not thinking about it, then I'm not doing enough in some way, or just the fear that surrounds it. So in my meditation these days, one thing that I'm doing is trying to visualize, even if I don't get the result that I want, or that maybe that's not even relevant, that one thing I can do right now is just feel into what it would feel like if I got the result that I wanted, and really sense it and really feel it and really connect with that in my body. And so in this way, I don't need to even have the result that I want to have that experience. And I can use, instead of going down the rabbit hole of stress and that old pattern, I can actually, when I notice that it's coming up, I can actually just take some moments and feel into a different kind of reality, a reality that has to do with, if I'm really trusting and I'm really tapping into the knowledge that life has taught me again and again, whether through the massage or through many of other experiences, that it's really on my side, then let me go there right now. I don't have to wait for the result to prove once again that life was on my side, because I may not get the result that I anticipated, and that needs to be okay. And I can make it okay. Like I said, one way is just already feeling into what it will feel like to have the result that I want. And whether I get it the way I'm hoping for, or some other way that is more unexpected and maybe is more drawn out over time, it proves, life proves itself to me time and time again how it is on my side. So let me just get into that phase of energy, into that phase of feeling and knowingness, and sense it. And if I can't, well, then let me notice that. And that's another thing that's really come up, which has made this week a really emotional week for me, because and vulnerable week, because it's true that I can't always do that. And those old habits and those old patterns, it's like I'm putting myself into this place where some of that stuff that lives in the shadows is now coming out. And it's an interesting thing about things that live in the shadows, old energies and old habits and patterns that, are basically the result of younger versions of myself not knowing how to deal with whatever big life event has happened. And so just doing my best in that moment, but is maybe not the healthiest approach. And so it's like I put like a wall, a boundary, something to kind of protect me from getting hurt. And I do think that it is, even though it's some way of life helping myself, because I really think in all cases life is supporting life. In those moments, what I need is for a fear-based response to help me, because I don't have the higher vibrational language, wherewithal, presence, or strength to get me through this. So I'm going to put a Band-Aid on. And I do think that fear-based response are helpful, especially to put those Band-Aids on to help me get through the event. Where it can become, I'm going to use the word toxic, is when it starts to last for years and years. And like I'm telling the story right now, it then becomes the fallback and the thing that I do when it's no longer necessary to have that Band-Aid. I've done a lot of work, as I'm talking about, leaning into trust, and yet those old habits and those old patterns live in me. And now to take that Band-Aid off, well then sure. Then it's like this whole thing to, it's hard to put into words, but it's just pain. It's pain that comes up maybe from the past, and it's also pain that comes up in the moment, and a sense of loss of like, well, what have I lost by not being able to realize this earlier? So it's a lot. It's a lot that's coming up, but I'm so grateful for it, and I'm so grateful to be in the just to do this work. And because at the end of the day, yes, it continues to help me to grow as a person, to show up every day in life, to show up for myself, for my loved ones, for this community, for this world. And that's it. So that's the work on trust that I've been doing these days. And that's also why I'm so grateful. As I reflect on it, I can see just how amazing the practice of Thai massage has supported me in this path and in this growth. And even though right now it can be painful, it can hurt, it can be really sensitive and even challenging to share, like I'm sharing right now, I know how much this is beneficial for me, and this is a healing. And it's essential, I'm talking about it like in the process of healing, and how grateful I am for this practice, and also for each of you, and from this amazing community. And I just know that we're all here and influenced by this metta, this loving kindness and compassion that we've discovered in ourselves, that we understand is there supporting us along the way, that helps us to bring the best of ourselves into conversation, into group, into sharing, and into our lives, and certainly into our massage practices. And having that in common, and having this language and this opportunity to connect and share, is a very priceless gift. So I just want to thank you all for being you, for showing up, for you doing your work at the pace and at the level that you're able to, and offer you love, and offer you support, and letting you know that you are doing amazing, amazing work in this world and in yourself. And let's continue. Let's continue to support each other and be there together. And I love you. I'll talk to you soon.